Why, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Voice of the Rings. I'm your host and guide, Zollin Ironshield, and this is a RiseToWar Legacy, and we're flipped. We're on the other side now for RiseToWar videos, because this is much more convenient. I want to show you guys the upgrade of the final upgrade on Gimli's axe. I think this deserves a video all in itself, so we're doing a video for it. All right, here we go. Balin's axe. I finally have enough. And it shall do 24% increased damage instead of just 20, which was already absurd before. Yes! Oh, gorgeous. Full refined. Anyway, I've been working on that for 5 seasons. Long time. 6 seasons. I don't even remember. I started that a long time ago. So my Gimli is now very, very strong. And by the way, my Falcon has this, or excuse me, this, which will probably go on Gimli in the future, but unfortunately because the Witch King exists, this is a much better item. So now a quick little rundown about my Gimli, all right, to finish up this. That was like the main point of the video, but we're going to talk about my Gimli just a little bit. So there is, I found out recently from a friend of the channel, he's a friend from season 2 actually in RiseToWar, but there's a fantastic ability on the Fiddle of the Eldest that gives you initiative, which is fantastic for Gimli since his Balin's axe already gives pursuit, which for those of you who don't know what pursuit is, it basically in RiseToWar gives you the ability to hit someone even if they have an evasion skill. So there's a lot of abilities in RiseToWar for commanders that are like cannot be hit for round blah 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 because of special whatever effect. This basically says I beg to differ, sir. You take axe to face. So that's what pursuit's for. And anyway, so yeah, it's pretty strong. And then basically at certain amounts of strength with this weapon, if you don't know, we're going to talk a little bit more about his special weapon. So he gains these effects in sequence when he has these things, right? So when he has 150 might or 300 might, he gets 12% and 12 more %. So again, I have 414 might. He gets both those effects. So he gets 24% increased damage, and at 100 focus, he gains pursuit. And I have 116 focus, so he always has pursuit at this point. The reason I use Box of Knowledge now is for the focus, because all my other items don't give any focus. So it helps him get to that 100, so he always has pursuit sooner in the game, so he doesn't get to really end game to get that. And then he gets might. Then it gives his army HP, which is great. Again, I do have a wonderful necklace I can use, too, if I wanted to help his dwarves survive, but I like this one because you also get your chance at warriors, the lore ability, which basically each round there's a 30% chance for the following effect to be triggered. Your commander does 9% more damage on top of that 24%, and then your commander's physical damage ignores 30% of the target's army. I would like to refine this one more time. I have one. I just need one more to refine it again to have a 40% chance, because that'll trigger it quite more often in every round. I also use Iron Bassinet. I might change this ability in the future, but basically all of my dwarf units that are in his army get an 80% chance to have stun immunity, which is actually rather good if your units are adding a lot of damage, for example, against the Witch King or against certain characters, because the Witch King has an AoE 100% stun for your whole army. He won't stun Gimli though, because remember, Gimli's doing most of the damage. So he is my Gimli is a glass cannon, as in his troops have to survive. He does lots of damage. Yeah, it's pretty fun. And then I have this on him to counter the Witch King, basically, because everyone uses the Witch King because he's so ridiculously strong. So yeah, and then he's got more might, defense. Anyway, it's pretty fun, pretty fun. If you guys don't know, a little side note for Gimli users, you all know this, I'm hoping, but when you first put in all your points, or you reset your points, make sure for all your active abilities, Heavy Wound, Break Defense, Whirlwind, All In, collaboration count as an active. I think it might. I forget exactly. But all those active abilities, make sure your first point is put in last to all in. And what I mean by that is make sure you put, if you're whatever active abilities you're going to use, make sure you put 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, and then you can drop 1 point in all in, and then fill them all out however you want. You know, whichever one you want to have the most points in. The reason you do that is because one of the combos lands on the same round. So all in lands on round 3. This one also, Heavy Wound also lands in all 3 on round 3. And if you don't put in, and this one lands on round 1, which skips into round 3. If you don't put this in last, what happens is this triggers first instead of heavy wound or something, and you lose damage because all-in has an effect that reduces your self-damage for that round by 50% once it goes off. So what you want is you want it to go last in that round. There's combat rounds for people who, this is for RiseToWar people, right? There's combat rounds, right? And if all-in goes in first and those other 2 abilities go, they're both going to do 50% less damage. But if all-in goes last, then you're going to do, it won't matter because the next round will start and that debuff on yourself will go away. So that's why you do that. It's something they don't tell you, which would be a nice little addition, RiseToWar. Be a nice little addition indeed. But yeah, it's a good thing to know about Gimli. It also works with a couple other characters that have all-in, but Gimli's one that really matters because he has abilities that do all land on that same round. So yeah, anyway, there's Gimli. It's pretty fantastic. I'm very excited about the axe upgrade. And again, this is how you know, if you ever want to, yeah, you have to come get the axe here, right? Anyway, pretty exciting. And he's got some wonderful information talking here. I like, you can see when you did it, right? Finished task side by side. Me, friend with an elf? An elf? How strange. And also, if you guys don't realize this from a lore perspective, Balin's axe, the reason it's called that, a lot of people don't realize this is not a real lore thing from the books. This is something they added in Peter Jackson's adaptations, which this game pulls from because they have rights to New Line Cinema. Balin's axe was technically Balin's, and Gimli found it in his tomb. So if you realize in the Fellowship of the Ring movie, when he goes into the tomb, he doesn't have the two-sided axe, which again, from a practical, it's super cool, but not maybe realistic in real life. But anyway, not important. It's really cool though the fact that he goes in and then he comes out and he has it. If you notice in the Fellowship, he has it when he comes out of Moria. So it's that's why it's Balin's axe. It's literally was Balin's when he passed away. They kept it by his tomb. Gimli grave robbed him. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's terrible. Joke. Side joke. No, of course, I'm sure Balin would have wanted him to have it. Oh, here they come. All right, well, here we go. We have a couple strong people here. All right, anyway, you guys have a great day in Middle-earth and go watch our stream later. I'll stream this part. Baruch Kazad Kuzad menu. And a quick little shout out and thanks to my patrons. Thanks, Skumley, for being Royal Guard. Subscribe buttons will be there. Something's gonna pop up over my face here for the next playlist, and then Zollin picture video up there. Have a great day in Middle-earth.